What's up, guys? Earl Let's Sumo Bully Kennels. Happy Tuesday. Whew, so tonight we're gonna do a throwback episode of how I got into this and my love for dogs and everything else. And it all starts with the American Pitbull Terrier, right? But before we get into the episode, guys, I want to thank everyone who's been watching our videos, showing the love and support. For the people that reach out to me for the business plan stuff, the dog food, I appreciate you. Truly blessed. I appreciate you guys. You know, again, we started our journey to document our journey and have like a video library, kind of like a diary. And it's grown to so much more. And I appreciate all the love and support and help that I've gotten from you guys. And I want to say I appreciate you guys who have thanked me for the help that I've been able to give you. So genuinely and authentically speaking, thank you for that. If you are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Earl Sumo Bully Kennels. And in this channel, we like to go over educational stuff so that we can all learn, be better dog people, breeders, so forth and so on. And also, you know, share our journey, entertainment value, I guess. You know, so this is an entertainment value type of episode. Maybe it's your thing, maybe it's not. However, we'd like to share it anyway, right? As we share our journey. So, thank you guys for the new people. If you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe. In this channel, we have a gentleman's agreement. We put out the content. If you like it, please like and subscribe. That's all we ask. It costs you nothing. It's free 99 to you. So, sorry, my glasses are fogging. Yeah. Anyway, without further ado, gosh, where it all started for me. When I was younger, I grew up with service dogs with my grandfather, who was a World War II veteran. We've always had dogs, working class dogs. We lived in a rural area. So our dogs were working class dogs. They all served a purpose, right? We didn't really have dogs inside or pet home type of dogs. All dogs had a purpose. They worked. They're part of the family, part of the pack, all that good stuff. And fast forward to the time. Okay, so I'll fast forward the timeline. I saw my first American Pitbull Terrier. Gosh, I would have to say I was 15, 16 years old. And the picture you're seeing on screen is not the dog I met. I just tried to pick a dog that looked like the dog that I first saw. So that dog was owned by a guy named Big John. He was a Korean locksmith, which is pretty awkward, right? Not too many Korean locksmiths out there. So his name is Big John, and he had a brindle pit. Very muscled up, muscular, not very bully in terms of what we're looking at today. Very functional, working class type of body. Agility like a cat. And so I've grown up around shepherds. I've seen other dogs. But this was my first experience with the American Pitbull Terrier. He had a countertop at his shop, right? The dog was at him at the shop. The countertop was bar height, so I'm going to say 48 inches to the top. And this dog could jump right on that countertop. No effort, nothing. Just jump right on there like a cat. And that in itself was impressive. And this dog was his buddy. He would throw like these giant logs. The dog would go fetch it. I mean, you want to talk about drive, play drive. This dog was incredible. Cat-like reflexes. Just a beautiful, amazing, muscled up, ripped up dog that could jump like a cat, fetch for days. And even though he was friendly, there was something about him that if he wasn't your dog and you didn't know him and play with him, he made you nervous. Like, he really did. there was a certain look to him and like a focus to him, like a hyper focus that, when I first was around him, I was weary. Like, even though he wasn't aggressive, I was very cautious of how I moved. I didn't want to make any sudden movements because the dog, looked very powerful, displayed a lot of strength and power and agility, and would never tire, would just work for hours on end. And that was my first experience with the American Pitbull Terrier, who was an absolute wow factor for me. Imagine you've never seen a pit bull in your life, and you see a dog that, will jump a fence, halfway climb up a tree to get a squirrel. I mean, it was incredible for me at a young age. I saw that dog and I'm like, man, that's the kind of dog that I like. And so, seeing different dogs on TV or seeing them in person, nothing set an impression on me like the American Pitbull Terrier, to be honest. And from then, I knew I had one. So, his dog's name was Tiger. He was a brindle dog with a white chest similar to this dog. And again, this is not his dog. I'm just bringing up a picture. So you got to remember, this is around 1995, when I first saw my first pit bull. 94 even. I would like to even say 1994. Somewhere around there. I'm lost in my timeline because it's different. Back then, pictures weren't such a big thing as they are now. And nowadays, you can't even go out to eat and just eat your food. You got to take a picture and post it, right? So that everyone knows what you ate. But truly an amazing dog, Tiger. My friend Big John, never even heard of what an American Pitbull Terrier was until I saw him. Short coat, tight skin, ripped, muscled up, no fat on him. Probably, I would say 50, maybe 55 pounds at most. And just the agility of a cat. I mean, this dog was ridiculous. I've never seen a dog so powerful, so majestic. Is just truly, truly impressive, guys. So that's when I fell in love with the American Pitbull Terrier. So yeah, about 94, I would say. From there, I was so wrapped up in it that I started reading books. I'm going to put this one on screen real quick just so you guys can see. So I bought this book right here. I read this book. I didn't even have a dog yet, right? Back then, you used to go to the pet stores and they would have these books, hardcover books that you could buy. So I bought this book and I read it. I bought this book as well and read it because I was just so impressed by this dog that I wanted to learn more about it, right? This one right here. I bought this book as well. I read this book. And there's another one, I think it's this one right here. It was a series of 4 to 6 books that I bought. Oh, I bought this book as well. So I bought this book right here. And I read this book as well. So I bought a bunch of these books just because I couldn't get enough. Trying to learn more about the pits, what it is about them, their history, how they came to be, how they came to this country, everything else. So fast forward 1995, I got my first pit. I was so happy. All right, so I'm gonna go to that right now. No, that's not it. Let's go back. So I grabbed a series of pictures because I don't have pictures of my old dogs, of kind of like the first dogs that I bought. So in 1995, I bought my first girl. Actually adopted her. Her name was Kilo. She was an all-black pit, just like the one you're seeing, cropped ears, bigger girl, probably about 65 pounds, pure muscle. I got her roughly around 4 months old. She was incredible. This was my first dog. I was so happy. Right, I got a pit, and of course they don't look like the males, right? And I was so in love with Tiger, the brindle dog, that it's like, man, this dog just doesn't, And I think I was just had so high expectations, but to which case she would live up to it anyway. So I got my first girl, adopted her. Her name was Kilo. I got her from the west side of Chicago, actually, K-Town. So K-Town back in the 90s was a different place. So I had a friend that was like, hey, you could adopt this girl. And I adopted her for $250. And she was cropped. Imagine that, right? I adopted her. She didn't have any shots when I got her. However, of all the dogs I've had up till present day that I personally owned, I would say Kilo was the best and smartest dog I've ever owned. Rest in peace, miss her to death. All black pit. She was unpapered, so was she mixed? Maybe. I couldn't tell you. She looked like a pit. They told me she was a pit, so she was a pit, all black. And that's a rare thing for a pit bull to be solid black with no white markings at all. But Kilo, I got her 4 months, and she went everywhere with me. No leash, jumped in the car. I'd go to McDonald's. She'd wait outside McDonald's for me. Just crazy how intelligent she was. And back then, they didn't have the leash laws in the 90s, where you had to leash your dog. Dogs can just basically, run around free. But I took her everywhere with me. Slept with me in my room. I was crazy about this girl, and she was crazy about me. Very protective, to a point where you really couldn't sit next to me on the couch when she was there. She'd get right in between us, whether you're my friend or girlfriend or whatever. There was no such thing as sitting next to me on the couch. She would get squeezed in between, and if you try to nudge her, she'd give you the growl. And she was very intimidating, very athletic. Work very hard. Again, in Pitbull-like character and nature, like you couldn't tire this girl out. Run for days, fetch for days. I did some like bite sleeve work, tug work with her. Just an amazing, amazing dog. And I was very happy with her, to be honest with you. That was the dog that I wanted, and I got her. And when she first started, she was maybe a little undernourished, but as she developed with me, she became a beautiful girl. Great protector of the home, very protective, family-oriented dog. And so a month later, I had an opportunity to adopt another dog from my friend Ron. Hold on, let's see. Okay. So again, this is not the dog I adopted, but I'm going to show you what the dog looked like. So my friend Ron, rest in peace. He is from Chicago, moved out to Aurora. He had some affiliations out there, which we'll not go over right now. But he had a yard full of game-bred dogs, my friend Ron. And I adopted a boy named Scrappy. We called him Scrappy Doo. Looked just like this. Body was just like this. I mean, just ripped to shreds. Because I wanted a male, right? The males are so much more impressive in terms of exhibiting the breed standard, the power of the dog, the size, the head. And I got Scrappy Doo from my friend Ron, who, rest in peace to Ron. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful dog. And this time, this dog was papered. He was off of Jeep. So Ron bred dogs, game-bred dogs. He carried certain bloodlines. He had Gator. He had Jeep. Little Rascal. I forget these names. But either way, the dog was papered. And he was boasting about, the pedigree of the dog, which at that time I'm not a breeder. So, I just wanted a handsome-looking dog. Same thing. Good with the family, good temperament. That with the athleticism and the drive that a pit bull had. And so, that was my second pit. Scrappy Doo. Looked just like this, ripped like this. Again, work for hours. Same thing. I got exactly what I wanted. And fortunately, I got them both young enough to where they were, they were very socialized with each other, no problems, no issues fighting or anything like that. So yeah, that was my second pit, and from there it's like I got what I wanted. Really, it's for that love of them dogs and stuff like that. Let's see here. So later down the line, as these dogs passed, I had a dog. At this time, the blue dog started becoming popular, right? So I had a girl. Now, this is a boy, however. I'm just trying to show you the colorings of the dog. I had a girl named Blue that I adopted from a shelter, roughly 2.5 years old. Again, same thing. Beautiful dog, athletic. Would fight water for no damn reason. Like if you're watering something, she'll fight the water. Just very loyal, and that's the one thing I really loved about the pits that I've had, and I've had a lot of them. So if I could just count off the top of my head, I had Kilo, I had Scrappy, I had Blue, I had Mojo, I had Peanut, I had Hokey. Gosh, probably 10 plus pits I've been through that I've either adopted or took in for a little bit. But yeah, this is I remember that during that time, like you can go to Craigslist and there was all this stuff like, oh, it's Razor's Edge and Gotti line, right? And they would show you a blue dog, and that was the big hype back then, the Razor's Edge and the Gotti line. Juan Gotti, of course, Razor's Edge from Dave Wilson, ABKC, and that was during the evolution of pits. And that's when people would say they had a blue-nosed pit bull or a red-nosed pit bull. Speaking of which, I've always wanted an old family red pit bull. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but let me see. Let me try to pull one up here. Oh gosh. Here you go. Old family red-nosed pit bull. So I've read so much about these old family reds, and I heard they were just incredible dogs. Game, like prey drive, high drive. Let's see. Oh, here. So I was looking at this before when I was thinking about getting a dog. Bryant's Red Devils. So this is old school blood, as they say. And, these are these pits, right? The original pits that were, 35, 45 pounds. But I've always wanted like an old family red, to be honest with you. See, you could see like the pit bulls here, they have that more functional build. But I heard these reds are something different, to be honest. Kind of like the dogs they use for like hog hunting, things like that. Just a dog that will not quit on you. But yeah, I never got a chance to get a real red nose pit bull. Maybe one day I will. It's still a dream of mine. But that old school red nose pit, with that red or pink nose, like that red. It's really a brown. It's really a brown color that looks red. Red eyes. I've always wanted one, and it was very. It was not as common here in Chicago, but I would look at different websites in the States, and just like, man, one day I'm gonna get one, because I remember I used to look at them. Here's another one I used to look at. Hold on, let me pull it up for you. And I'm not sure if they're still around, but Mogulstone pit bulls, right? And so back then, when I first started getting into it, or actually I've been into it, but I used to always look at this, and I'm like, man, these are some gigantic freaking dogs. Like here, they still got Mr. Magoo on here because I used to look at Mr. Magoo and be like, Jesus, right? I mean, this dog looks incredible. But I used to stalk these pages, and I'm like, man, one day I'm gonna get one. And during this time, these dogs were probably like $2,500 to $5,000, and that was expensive, to be honest with you. Biggie, yep. I used to look at all their pictures and be like, man, I'd love to see these dogs in person. They look freaking amazing. So anyhow, back to it. So yeah, that's really, I love that Pitbull temperament in sense. Like as long as you've socialized them properly, I just love their natural demeanors to please, right? To serve, to please, to love on the family. And this picture I have up right here is my last pit bull I had, Smokey Bear. He was, I guess you would call that lilac now. But back then, the person that sold him to me said he was a blue fawn, right? Which now we call this lilac. Uncropped dog, probably 80 pounds, 85 pounds. And that's my son, not even a year old. And Smokey died when my son was about 10 and a half years old. My son's 13 now. So he died about 2.5 years ago. Rest in peace, Smokey Bear. Great dog. Just a beautiful dog. Never used the bathroom in the home. My son would walk him. He was really good on lead. Good guard dog. Even keel temperament. Not dog aggressive, but if a dog growled at him, he's not backing down. That was just his temperament. But this dog grew up with my son. We had him probably 8 months before my son was born, or something like that. No, sorry, maybe 6 months before my son was born. And he grew up with my son. I mean, that was his homie. My son would sleep on him, everything else. And yeah, my son cried hard when he passed away. But yeah, Smokey Bear was a good dog. You can see him here. Good structure on him. And again, he's not a bully, guys, so don't judge him by a bully standard. He was a pit. So by bully standards, you would say he's snouty. He's got a small head. He's got a decent H frame, but not that wide of a chest for a male or shoulders. But again, he was a pit, guys, And a funny story about him is I was a manager at a place, and at a contracting place, and somebody came in and was like, "Hey, do you want a dog?" I was like, "No, not really." They were trying to sell me him, and I didn't buy him. I said, "Look, I have dogs already." And, my son was going to be born, so I didn't have time to deal with that puppy stage. And make the long story short, they tied him to my gas meter at work, right? And at that time, I had a Motorola flip phone. So that's how many years ago that was. Ended up taking him home, ended up keeping him. Reached out to the guy because I knew who he was to try to give him the dog back. And, he took a few dollars for the dog. And I thought that was fair. But the other route was I could have called animal control and they could have picked him up. And that would have been the end of him. So I didn't have the heart to do that. However, he stayed with us a long time until he passed. Great dog. And he just passed suddenly. Didn't suffer or nothing. Just, it's one of those things. So anyhow, again, this episode was really just looking back of the love of the dogs and how the natural progression of getting to this industry was for me. I've always loved the pits, always had an admiration for the pits, their qualities, their attributes, their character, the demeanor, right? And, pits have a bad rap in the public. And also, they have a bad rap for being dog aggressive, which is what they're originally bred for. And the thing is, if you socialize them, you have a better chance of them acclimating and being good dogs, right? Versus you don't socialize them, and then you mess, and then genetically what they're wired to do, what they're supposed to do, comes out naturally. I found that you can curb that, but not 100%. There's still, I never took my pits to a dog park to play, to be honest with you. I just didn't want that kind of liability. Not that I didn't trust my dogs, but if a dog was playing too rough or attacked them, my dog would react. And because it's in their genetic makeup to do that, that's what they're bred for. I never wanted to, find out, right? And be negligent and be the cause of someone's dog getting hurt or my dog getting hurt. I was never into that kind of stuff. So, but I do like the work drive, the temperament, the loyalty that a pit bull gives you. It's amazing, man. The love. It's just something about a pit bull. They're just so loving. And the one drawback is they got really powerful tails and get super excited. And that tail is like a whip, man. I mean, it hurts. So, anyhow, having dogs all my life, specifically pits, bully breeds, right? It's, when we decided to dog up again after Smokey passed away, I was telling you guys we adopted like this bulldog mix that didn't work out for us. And then we got our first bully, XL. I like a big, strong dog. I like a dog that's functional. Up here in Midwest weather, sometimes it's cold outside. There's a lot of snow, and I need a dog that's just going to go out and not be deterred by snow or rain or anything like that. Just like Smokey was. Good dog. Doesn't matter how much snow's outside. He's going out to use the bathroom and go play. And so for me, lifestyle-wise, that's how we got into the bullies. And we initially got into it as dog lovers, as people who love the breed, wanted something that's, a little easier temperament-wise, without, American bullies are a mix of multiple breeds, right? We're a composite breed. And so some of that gameness is watered down. However, that pit bull ancestry is still in there. And so I'm still very cautious about that, because again, that's going to go dog per dog, depending on the dog, depending on the temperament of the dog, how you raise it. But just having that genetic material, you still have to be careful, guys. Just because the American bully, regardless of class, is a companion breed, know that there's still pit bull in there. And you got to be careful, right? You got to know your dog, be responsible, socialize your dog. And some of them, even if they are American bullies, are just not good with other dogs, to be honest. I have, a dog on my yard that's like that, and does not like to share toys and things like that. And it's a personality trait, guys. So again, just because it is a companion breed, you still have to be cautious. Don't get it twisted, especially in the American XL bullies, guys. These are big, strong, powerful dogs. And yes, they want to cuddle and be petted and love on you, but it's still a dog, guys. Very, very powerful, can do a lot of damage. So, we have to always be responsible as pet owners, understand the breed that we love and own, and act accordingly, right? In terms of training, obedience, socialization, do all these things. And sometimes when we do all these things, because I'm not a professional trainer, you can't curb every dog that way. I have some dogs that are food motivated, some dogs that are toy motivated, some dogs that are affection motivated. You got to know your dog and spend time with your dogs. So with that said, here at Sumo, we got, you guys have been to our website. We have 10 dogs on the yard. So, here. And I got to update these pictures, but, you can see, this is powerful looking dogs here, for sure. You know, you look at, for example, our boy Kaiju. I mean, that's, you know, you see that dog. If he's not your dog, you're probably gonna, have your reservations about just touching him. You know, probably 130 pounds right now, 25, 130 at 11 months. But a sweetheart of a dog. He's not mean by any means. However, you still have to be cautious, right? You look at this dog. If you're not a bully breed person, that's an intimidating looking dog. Most of them are. So anyhow, wanted to do a throwback episode of, like, to say that you fell in love with bullies is one thing. I mean, really, mine's started in the early 90s, with the pits, the pitties, American Pitbulls, Terrier. And you can see a lot of that influence. You still see the face of the pit in a lot of these bullies. It's altered, and yes, they're bigger. However, to me, what I see in the American XL bullies, because that's what I have, is they do have that temperament of the pit. They're very loving, and they want to please you. They do have an X amount of drive to work or play, fetch. They're probably not as gamey as a pit, not even close to as gamey as a pit in terms of, drive-wise. And they're not built for working class. So, depending on the weather, you could probably work a dog like this 20 minutes, 25 minutes, fetching and, things like that. And you're going to get that dog sufficient exercise for that day. So he's not, he or she is not going crazy, versus a pit where you'll be out there for an hour and that dog still wants to keep going. And that was kind of the transition into the bullies, that we wanted something with less, that drive, right? Because we do want to give our dogs the proper attention, the proper exercise, so that they're mentally happy, healthy, They're not all pent up with energy and looking to unleash it on your shoe or something like that. So with that said, guys, I'm going to cut this one. Just wanted to share this of, we're in 2024 now. So figure I saw my first pet around 1994. You can do the math. I'm not a very young person anymore. But, I've always loved them, had a lot of them through the years. And now we got a lot of bullies, and we're breeding. And so a lot of that passion, coming into the space and deciding to be a breeder comes from a lot of that passion of having these dogs on my life, understanding the care that comes with it, the responsibility, the time, the financial cost. Like, this is not, even just one dog, there's a responsibility and time factor and money factor that's involved in having a pet dog that you're going to give a good quality of life, good nutrition, good feed, proper, medications and inoculations, going to see checkups. Like, it's not cheap to own a dog, especially a big dog like this. But all those years of having dogs since 94, as practice, 94, 2004, 2014, 2024. There you go. Decades of owning bully breeds, specifically American Pitbull Terriers, which I still love them, by the way, guys. Still do. However, I'm on this phase now with American XL Bullies, and I love it. Love it. I love them. I knew what I was getting into, and they have not disappointed me. So, with that said, guys, Earl S. from Bully Kennels with just a fun throwback episode. If you're watching this and you're in the bully game, then at some point in your life you like pits. Because if you didn't like pits, it's hard, you know what I mean? Especially if you're a little bit older, maybe the newer generation now, you went straight to the bullies. But I'm talking about guys my age, 40s, 50s, mid 50s, maybe even 60s. You started from the pits if you're in our age group, and that's what you fell in love with. Now, this is a new breed. which exhibits a lot of the characteristics of the pits that we always known and loved. However, there's evolution, right? So with that said, guys, just a fun one tonight. Just wanted to chop it up and talk about my love for dogs, what got me into it, my history of having dogs. And this is not just one of those I jumped on the fad because it's a quick get rich quick scheme and this is what everyone's doing. No, I've always loved dogs. I've always had them. And so now I want to breed and perpetuate what I want, what I like. And those who are a fan of my work will rock with me and follow me and support our journey. Those of you who, have a different vision will do your thing. And respect to that, though, because if you care and love your dogs and you provide for them the time, the space, the money, everything that comes with owning these dogs, then I respect that. And as a dog person, I respect you. As long as we're doing right by these dogs, that's really one of the key factors, right? Whether you have one dog or 100 dogs, as long as you're giving them the due diligence and proper care, I'm with it. I support you. So, with that said, guys, Earl Sumo Bully Kennels, happy Tuesday night. I'll bring you another episode this week that's more informative. Today was just chopping it up, talking about history. So, without further ado, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.